Hi Sag, I hope that everybody's doing well. Before we get into the reading, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. I'm seeing something happening that may kind of like throw you off a bit or catch you off guard, unsuspecting. And it seems like the challenge here is for you to like maybe remain calm and actually not react to this. I'm seeing the Four of Wands being crossed by the Five of Pentacles. You may feel like the desire is for a harmony and for things to be in a state of like balance and stability. However, you may feel like something is out of your hands, Sagittarius, when it comes to, you may feel like something going on even with the circumstances, it's beyond your control. But is it actually? Is there something that you can do here? Or is this something that needs to be let go of? Because I'm seeing it be like you may be together with a person in some sort of way, or feel like there's a focus on togetherness. This can be like a family structure or like a duo, something like that, where it's like you and another person or other people, and desiring for things to be like a very particular way and feeling in a way like there's a lacking of togetherness. Because there's this notion of having a very clear picture of what it is that you want. And I'm seeing the Lovers and the Ten of Cups. So it's like feeling fulfilled in a partnership, and right now feeling like you don't have access to what that is, or like maybe there's something that you feel like you can't do in order to create that scenario again. I am hearing time will heal. Can also be like looking back on something that you used to have as well. I'm hearing feeling familiar. I'm definitely seeing some themes from the Pisces reading. The Lovers and the Ten of Wands sticking out to me. You may feel like, we also have Taurus here, you may feel in a way like how you believe that things should be, there's a lacking of that. But it could even be because of like standards or regulations. You may be feeling stressed out. Like, this is a moment where rather than accepting a situation for what it is, you may be like, it's supposed to look like this, and it's supposed to feel like this, and this is how that's supposed to function. And like, because of these thoughts that you're having, it may be like even creating this situation in painted within a frame that appears much more like difficult possibly than it actually is, just because of how there's such a strong sense of rigidity here. But that's also like for you to question within yourself, like if something is not in alignment with like your beliefs and what you feel like you resonate with, that's also something to think about as well, because this may be something that you're not willing to compromise on, and that's why you're so like stubborn or stuck within this mind frame and feeling like there's something that's lacking that you want. So it's like, do we need to compromise here, or is this something bigger underneath that's going on that may be leading to like an even bigger change within our lives? I'm even seeing there be this attempt to like carry all of this baggage into something, but I'm seeing there be a moment where you're kind of like stopped from doing that. It's like you can't bring that past this line, and like because you may have had to drop something or may need to drop something in order to get to the other side of it, there's this notion of like once you do drop everything, like thinking about it and being like, I had to drop everything that I was carrying. The thing is that this like filtration process that you're going through right now, which I'm seeing this be like something spiritual that you're going through right now energetically, it's like this stuff that you were carrying, you were thinking that it was so precious, but it was just like bringing a lot of stress into your life actually. So it's kind of like holding on to something that's impeding your growth, but being like, but I love this thing, or whatever this is that you were carrying. I'm hearing mainframe. And so you go through this process and Spirit's like, hey, you can't like bring that with you in order to get to the other side. So there's this notion of you like dropping this stuff and in a way feeling lighter and feeling like you're moving through a process where before it was like you were holding on to it and you didn't want to let it go. Now, Spirit's like, you can't come to this other side, and I know you want to if you're carrying that, so you have to drop it. So, because you want to go to this other side, you have to drop this stuff. Now, when you're on this other side, you're like thinking about that stuff that you were holding on to, thinking about how you lost it, how you dropped it, how you don't have it anymore. But like there's something very important here, because this is also part of the process of you processing through something. So you're not going backwards here, and that's to be pointed out, because before you had not been letting go of something. Now you've released it and you're thinking about not having it anymore. But this is a very important point, because it leads to us accepting something for what it is. So even though you may be like fixated on something or feeling very sad or feeling very like focused on the past, this is a pivotal moment of us beginning to process and move towards acceptance so we can actually find the peace that we're looking for. So know too that like you are in the midst of something very important here, and even though it may feel just as uncomfortable as when you were holding on to something and didn't let it go, because like the change and the growth and the pulling away from attachment and all of that, it's not comfortable. It can feel very like painful when we're moving through the experience of it. Even though it may feel just as uncomfortable, you are making progress here, is the main point. And you're getting closer to this sense of like serenity is the word that I'm getting. Where things will be balanced. Because it seems also like before something was out of balance. So there was like a lack of compatibility even before. Possibly. That's something that's still not resolved yet. I feel like we haven't gotten that far. There may still be something that you're sorting through on the emotional front when it comes to your relationship with this person. It's about like what it is that you're looking for. It's also about like your value, self-value, how you perceive yourself, how you perceive like what it is that you can give and also what it is that you can receive, and vice versa. And you may still be unsure about like what it is exactly that you're looking for, potentially on the emotional front. Like it even seems like something is still being worked through. How did I know? So this is someone you have quite the history with. Correct. Sagittarius, knowing your worth. You may still be confused because of the experiences that you've had with this person, the history that you have with them. It's like, okay, say that this was a new person and a new experience that you were having, that you had like no past history with and no emotional ties. I feel like you would be seeing this much differently than you're seeing this situation, because it seems like this situation is very much flavored with a sense of nostalgia, which is making it harder to work through something on the emotional front rather than seeing it clearly in maybe like a more air energy, we can say. Because Sagittarius, I'm seeing there be this connection that you have, and it's something that's meant to be like harmonious and stable and work together well, where there's like a sense of shared responsibility and ownership. I'm hearing onus specifically, but I'm seeing something that feels very stressful. It's like staying together feels very stressful because I feel like there's a lack of balance. So it's like you feel in some way like something that you need, there is a lack of that. Whether it be like there's a lack of shared like household duties, or there's a lack of like affection. It's like something when it comes to your standards and what you feel like creates. I'm hearing symbolically like a fruitful and well balanced relationship. There's something missing or lacking, and that's why the stress is here. That's why it's being felt, because something is out of order, it's out of balance. And I'm seeing you be in a spot where you're like, well, it just is what it is, I can't do anything about it. For some of you, this may be because of religious beliefs. Actually, there's something about a belief system, and you may feel in a way like because something is unified, it can't be broken together. This feels very much like to have the Four of Wands touching corners with the Hierophant here, where they're together. Like, you could be married to somebody and be like, well, like, it's looked down upon to get a divorce, or like my religion doesn't like recognize that, like whatever it is. You may feel very much like you're stuck in a situation where you know that your standards aren't being met. You feel very stressed out. This is starting to like weigh on you more and more. I'm not seeing it be to a point where it's like you're not able to handle this at all, but it's something that's like increasingly bringing like more and more stress to you. And maybe even now feeling at your limit, like I have to do something, but it's like then we go back to this space where you're like, I can't do anything about it. And you may feel in some way like this has something to do with like your religion or spiritual beliefs. Like, why would I be brought together with this person if we weren't meant to be together? Or why would we have gotten married if we weren't meant to be together? Or because we're married, we can't separate. Like, whatever this is, it seems like this thing that has you feeling like you can't be effective is based off of some sort of like tradition or belief. That could be on the other person's end as well. Doesn't just have to be you. And I'm seeing you even think about like our chemistry, the chemistry between us when we got together and how things were. I'm hearing fiery and fluorescent. It's like things felt very like even electric with this person when you were together with them. And there's this notion of like thinking about things all the way back in the beginning, because it seems like you've built like a life or some sort of environment with this person, but when you take away all of your history and you just talk about like the connection between the two of you, I'm seeing like you still hold something in your mind's eye about like what it was with the chemistry between you and this person, and feeling disappointed and sad because you feel like you don't have that with them anymore. And that feels confusing as well, because it's like, we used to be happy, like if we still have this, can't we still have that? But because of everything and how complicated it's become, you may be working to the point of like trying to find a sense of peace here as you're like weaving through the seas of nostalgia with this person. I'm looking at Gemini, Taurus. The Hierophant also represents the 9th house too, which is about like philosophies and religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs. They fall under the umbrella of it. Traditions. So yeah, it seems like something connected with the past needs to be worked through in order for you to reach what it is that you are reaching for on the emotional front. You can be also... For some of you, you're working with someone, potentially. Could be someone that's like helping you work through this, but I'm seeing it be like... because of the history that you have with this person, I'm seeing it be extra stressful. Like, this is one of the most like nostalgic, sentimental energies I've seen in a reading before, where it's like, because of the history and the past connection you have with this person, feeling like emotionally or mentally you would not be able to handle like breaking apart or breaking away from it, even though you know something is not right for you. So it's like having this awareness that something doesn't work or something doesn't fit, but because of reasons other than it working, this is why one like wants to keep hold of this. For very sentimental reasons. But this is also as well about, in part, living in the past in a way. It's like the notion of chasing something that you once had and desiring and hoping for it to be like that. And because of like living in that past moment where there's this notion of like wanting to like replicate something that you once experienced, it's I'm hearing protruding. It's inhibiting you from living in the present moment. And there's also a desire not to live in the present moment as well, because in comparison to like the past, when you felt that spark with this person, it's much more desirable to be in that moment than it is to be in the present moment, which is also telling as well. It seems as well like this is about you working with yourself and figuring out like what part of you also feels this responsibility to stay within a situation that is actually distressing to you as well. And do you want to stay in that, or do you want to Do you want to move away from this? Because in your heart there is a lack of connection, a lack of fulfillment, which is now being recognized. It even seems like getting to the point of accepting this, which seems like is the hardest part of anything, the hardest part of all, is accepting that you don't feel fulfilled here. And the implications of what that means for you if you allow yourself to accept that as well. Because you may have also been avoiding to recognizing this, because then it's like, well, if I recognize that, doesn't that mean I have to do something about it? I'm not like held back by the fact that I haven't processed that or like consciously recognized it. So now it's like the ownership is kind of falling back on you, where it's like if you stay within this situation, then that falls on you and you're making the decision to do that and you're responsible for it. And if you decide to do something about it, you're also responsible for that too. And it's all about choice. There's no like right or wrong. It's just about what you will, what you decide. And what will you decide? I'm seeing you working on something. Working on a plan, figuring something out. I'm hearing custom, a custom. Wow. Working on figuring out what's going on with you emotionally, getting to a place where you are like very much sitting within the energy of the Queen of Cups, which is somebody that is going to be very open to their emotional experience. It's somebody that's like, I'm going to think about how I'm feeling. I'm going to feel what I'm feeling. I'm going to sit within what I'm feeling. I'm going to recognize everything that I'm feeling. So it's about getting to that point where there's this like open dialogue between like you and your like moon and astral energy, you and your like non-physical, non-3D energy, emotionally, energetically, what's going on for me? How am I feeling? All of that. What emotions? Without judging them as well. It's about just being open to the whole emotional experience. And then once you've had that time of sitting with yourself within that space, it's about getting to the point of having a conversation, preparing yourself. So it's like you've laid everything out on the table, you've felt it all, you've laid it all out, and then it's about like organizing it and forming it in a way where you can finally articulate what it is that you want to say. It seems too like this may also be about you working with yourself in a way where you may feel, or you were raised or brought up, or this just may be something that you've adopted, to feel like it's your responsibility to take care of others. And because of a role that you have like adopted or fallen into, a role that you strongly identify with, you may also be struggling on the emotional front to disengage from this role. This may be a moment where this role is actually going to change. It's not like you're getting rid of something completely. It's that something is like adapting and changing to like you in the moment. So rather than staying stagnant in something that you had identified with, this is about allowing it to like adapt and move and grow with you. So you can still do those things. They just may look different than you had been doing them before. It's like the expectations or like the job description may be changing a bit, but that may also be something that you're working through too, because you may have like really identified with okay, for example, let's say you're you see yourself as the head of a household, and like you financially take care of everything, and like you've always been the breadwinner, and like you've always identified with being a provider for the people around you, and like that has always been your role. And it's like if that has always been your role. Where does that leave you if, like, the only person you're providing for now is yourself? Or what if it was about providing for the people that you lived with in a household with, and now you're not going to be living in the same household with? Maybe you'll still be providing for them, but maybe it'll just change from you only providing for people in your household to now providing for you in your household and maybe people in another household. So you still may be able to do that role. It just may be like changing in a way that's different. And you may have also had somebody that, like, in a way you were compatible with them because, like, they reinforced you being in this role too. And that may also be something that you're working through too. So it looks like something on the emotional front that, and tied in with like roles and responsibilities, that also make it difficult to have this conversation and to say, like, even though we've done this or we've built this or this was our routine or our go-to, I actually don't feel like it's giving me what I need anymore. I don't feel connected with it. I don't feel satisfied. I feel like there's a lacking. And like even speaking those words out, once you get to the point of being ready to do that, and like something coming to an end and you feeling like liberated afterwards, in a way, the experience is not just going to be simmered down to like one thing that you're experiencing. It can feel liberating and sad at the same time. It can feel scary. It can feel anything and everything that you're feeling. There's no right or wrong when it comes to your emotional experience, and it is all very valid. But yeah, it seems like a very big structural life move that is being looked into now. Zodiac wise, I'm just looking at Gemini and Taurus. I'm hearing Scorpio. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.